If you've noticed your steps becoming a little quieter, a little more cautious, you're not alone. Most people over 60 assume that wobble is just age catching up. But in my 25 years working with seniors, I've learned that the body rarely changes without giving us a message first. And the message behind unsteady walking is almost always the same. Your balance circuits aren't failing. They're simply not being asked to fire the way they used to. I've watched men who spent their whole lives strong and capable suddenly feel unsure stepping off a curb. I've heard women tell me they avoid walking in the dark, not because they're afraid of the night, but because they're afraid of misjudging a step. These moments don't just affect the body, they touch something deeper, the desire to stay independent, to move through the world with the same quiet confidence you've always had. The encouraging part is that the systems responsible for balance and stability are incredibly responsive. They don't need long workouts or heavy equipment. They need clear signals, just a few minutes a day, to wake up the fast twitch fibers in your legs, the ankle stabilizers that keep you from tipping, and the brain muscle pathways that decide whether you catch yourself or fall. A small routine, done consistently, may support your mobility far more than people realize. It's the same routine I give to my own patients, including a retired firefighter named Robert. He walked into my office after a close call on a curb while holding his grandson's hand. 3 weeks of simple, targeted movements changed the way he walked and the way he carried himself. And in a moment, you and I will walk through those same movements together. But first, you need to understand what's really happening inside your body when your balance shifts. What most people never hear from their doctor is that balance isn't a single skill, it's a conversation. One that happens every second between your muscles, your joints, your inner ear, and a part of your brain called the cerebellum. After 60, that conversation becomes quieter, not because the body is failing, but because several small systems begin to lose sensitivity at the same time. Inside your muscles, especially the ones around your ankles and hips, are tiny sensors that work like motion detectors. They tell your brain exactly where your body is in space. With age, those sensors don't disappear. They just become slower to alert you. That split-second delay is often the difference between catching yourself or stumbling. Research from the Mayo Clinic in 2021 showed that something as simple as standing on one leg for 10 seconds strongly correlates with longevity markers because it reveals how quickly these sensors respond. The muscles themselves also change. Fast twitch fibers, the fibers responsible for quick reactions, shrink first. This is why even strong, active seniors sometimes feel unsteady. It's not about brute strength. It's about how quickly your muscles can activate when the ground shifts beneath you. When those fibers aren't stimulated regularly, the neuromuscular junction, the tiny bridge where nerve meets muscle, becomes less efficient. Your brain plays its part too. When you walk on uneven ground, the cerebellum fires rapidly, coordinating your eyes, your inner ear, and your feet. But if you rely on wide, cautious steps for too long, the brain adapts to that pattern. It becomes your new normal. Here's the encouraging truth. All of this is trainable. In fact, studies in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity, 2019, found that seniors who practice narrow base walking for just 2 minutes a day improved their balance scores by over 40% within 4 weeks. The body remembers more than we give it credit for. In a moment, we'll begin the first movement, and you may feel the difference sooner than you expect. Now, let's walk through the movements that can make a meaningful difference in your stability. Each one targets a different part of your balance system, and together they form a routine that takes less than 2 minutes. You don't need equipment, and you don't need to change clothes. You just need a bit of space and a willingness to let your body remember what it's capable of. Let's begin with the movement I start almost all my patients with, single leg balance. It looks simple, standing on one foot, but it wakes up the exact stabilizer muscles around your ankles and hips that tend to go quiet with age. These are the fibers that respond when you step on uneven ground or when a curb feels a little too high. When Robert first tried this, he could barely hold for 5 seconds. Within a week, he doubled that time. And what changed wasn't just his balance, it was the way he felt when he took that first step out his front door in the morning. To try it now, stand near a counter for safety, shift your weight to one leg, and lift the other just an inch. Hold for 10 to 30 seconds. You'll feel those tiny muscles around the ankle working almost immediately. That's good. That means your body is listening again. Once that system wakes up, we build on it with heel-to-toe walking, sometimes called a tandem walk. Think of it like walking on a narrow beam, one foot directly in front of the other. This trains your body to stay steady on a smaller base of support, which is exactly what you rely on when stepping off curbs or navigating tight spaces. Research in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity found that just 2 minutes of this each day improved balance by over 40% in 4 weeks. What's really happening is deeper. You're strengthening the communication between your cerebellum and your lower body, teaching your brain to coordinate subtle ankle and hip adjustments in real time. 10 to 15 slow steps is enough. Don't rush. Let your body find its rhythm. Next, we address strength, because balance without strength is like a car with good steering, but no engine. The half squat is one of the most powerful tools you can use for leg strength after 60. It works the quadriceps, glutes, and hamstrings. The trio that keeps you from collapsing when you misstep. Stand with feet shoulder-width apart, lightly hold a counter, and sit back as if reaching for a low chair. You only need to lower a few inches. Slow, controlled movement matters more than depth. Studies from the National Institute on Aging suggest that maintaining leg strength may support better mobility, lower fall risk, and preserve independence into the 70s and beyond. When these muscles fire together, your whole gait becomes more stable, more deliberate, and more confident. The final movement is one most people overlook, yet it may be the missing link for anyone who shuffles or catches their toes while walking. Seated leg raises target the hip flexors, the muscles that lift your leg with each step. They weaken quietly with age, especially if you sit often. When they lose strength, your stride shortens and your foot doesn't lift as high, increasing the chance of catching on carpet edges or uneven ground. Sit tall, straighten one leg, lift it until it's parallel with the floor. Hold briefly, then lower slowly. 8 to 12 repetitions on each side. Teach your brain and muscles to work together again. Many patients tell me this one simple movement changes the entire feel of their stride. Each of these exercises trains a different piece of your balance circuitry. Together, they create a foundation sturdy enough to support the way you want to live. Steady steps, strong legs, and a quiet confidence that returns with every day of practice. The real transformation begins when these movements become part of the rhythm of your day. Not a workout, not a chore, just a small agreement you make with your body. And the beauty is, each exercise can be adjusted to fit exactly where you are right now, physically and emotionally. One of the simplest optimizations is timing. Your balance system is naturally more receptive in the morning, when your cortisol levels create a gentle alertness and your joints are still waking up. Doing the single leg balance or heel-to-toe walk within the first hour of waking may help your nervous system set the tone for the rest of the day. Think of it like calibrating your internal compass before you start moving through the world. If you prefer structure, place these movements in the transitions you already make, waiting for the kettle to boil, brushing your teeth, or standing up from a chair. The body responds best to consistency, not intensity. Even 20 to 30 seconds at a time creates a signal strong enough for your muscles and brain to adapt. And if you're dealing with arthritis, knee discomfort, or old injuries, there are gentle adjustments. During the half squat, reduce the depth or hold onto a counter with both hands. If your ankles feel stiff during single leg balance, keep the raised foot just an inch off the ground. The brain doesn't care how high it is. It cares that you're asking the stabilizers to activate. Those tiny muscles respond best to slow, steady practice, not force. For the seated leg raises, imagine drawing your thigh upward instead of kicking the leg out. That small shift helps activate the deeper hip flexors, the ones responsible for stride length and toe clearance. And if lifting one leg feels too easy, point your toes toward your shin before you lift. That engages the front of the lower leg and sharpens the entire movement. If consistency is hard, pair these movements with something meaningful. A moment of gratitude, a breath that reminds you you're still capable, or a thought of someone you want to stay strong for. The body listens differently when intention is woven into the movement. When you put all of these pieces together, the balance work, the narrow base walking, the strength training, the hip flexor activation, you're doing far more than exercising. You're rebuilding the communication lines that keep you steady in a world that never stops moving. And the truth is, your body has been waiting for this kind of attention. It knows how to respond. It knows how to adapt. It just needed the right signals again. If you remember anything from our time today, let it be this. Stability isn't lost all at once. It slips away quietly in small hesitations and shorter steps. But strength returns the same way, one intentional moment at a time. I've watched men and women in their 70s and 80s regain a confidence they thought was gone for good, and it always starts with a simple choice to begin. So, here's your invitation. Try these movements once a day for the next 2 weeks, not as a challenge, not as a test, simply as a gift to your future self. Make a small mark on your calendar, or set a reminder on your phone. Let these few minutes become your way of telling your body, I'm still here and I'm still moving. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Which of the 4 exercises feels like the one you want to start with today? Your answer might help someone else find their starting point too. And if you'd like support in your journey to staying strong, steady, and independent, you're welcome to stay with us. We talk often about the little daily practices that make aging feel lighter, sharper, and more connected. Your steps still matter. To you and to the people who love you. Let's take the next ones together.